All right, moving up to politics. Third-party candidate, no, independent candidate, Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. Jr. is actually Jackrabbit, JR. That's what I chose to say right there. So check out the Behind the Bastards podcast. They just did a 4-part series. I'm in the middle of the second part, listening to it about the Kennedy family. Pretty interesting stuff. You get a pretty good, glimpse, more than a glimpse into the legacy of this family, how it got started, and the kind of craziness that led us to having this goofball in the race here with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. now running for. So apparently he has an encounter with a bear, and I don't know all the details. I think he hit one with his car, but maybe that's not what happened. But evidently, though, a New Yorker story was coming out, and he tweeted this himself, and I believe it's him talking to Rosanne Barr in their rich people house. Rich people always they have catered food and beautiful kitchens where you can stand around and have a little chat with your rich buds. Their chef's kitchens are usually a little bit different. Even those are probably pretty nice. But he says, and I'm not going to do the voices, though it's very tempting. Honestly, though, his voice makes my misophonia go off. So hearing him talk kind of fucks my head up in a way that I hope doesn't feel like I'm being a dickhead or something about disability, but it's grating to I can't control what does that to me. My brother was wearing a really like loud jacket. It was like crackly. It was like a raincoat thing. And I was like, did you have to wear that jacket? So it's no wonder I'm unemployable. Anyway, back to the story. Looking forward to seeing how you spin this one at New Yorker. That was actually pretty good. I don't think I've ever done his voice.
I was taking a group of people falconing up in Goshen, New York.
Sorry. Yeah, okay. I was taking a group of people falconing. You ever heard a poor person say that? Maybe if they have enough quarters to save up to go play it down at the arcade, Falcons Run.
Cut in Hudson Valley, and I was supposed to meet them there at like maybe 8 or 9. I was driving up maybe, really early, like 7, and that woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it.
Okay.
A young bear.
A woman in front of him. Yeah, that's Rosanne Barr, right? Major red flag. Look how nice that place is. Whose house are they in? These fucking rich people, man. You got to have video game houses like in Valheim. I've been having a lot of fun in Valheim, but that's a video game.
So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear, and it was very good condition, and I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator. And you can do that in New York State. You can get a bear tag.
Now, the roadkill to meat pipeline, I'm for it. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. You got to do something with the body. Let's not act like I eat meat. My dad is a hunter guy. He's hit multiple deer. Not that he hunts with his car. We had a bear encounter actually in the car up in northern Wisconsin. Just pulled over, picked up some sodas. It was a late trip. We were getting close to our destination, and my dad got us all to look out for bears and animals. That was actually a fun game we would play, as well as protective. The more eyeballs on the road, the better. Because those deer will fucking just jump right out at you and cause all kinds of chaos, and suddenly you're swerving into a ditch and you get killed by Wisconsin gators. They don't have that, but they do have mosquitoes. And so we're just kind of looking for animals. We're all popped up on soda, and suddenly I remember it so vividly, this really large black shape lumbers up out of the grasses on the side of the highway. It was fairly open, lots of trees, but they kind of carve out that sort of space between the road and the trees. And it took a second to realize it was a fucking bear, and it was not a small one. And this thing was running into the road, and my dad was about to hit it, and the bear was going, and we all start screaming. Now that's the problem when children between the ages of 6 and 10 are your lookout crew, is that they just start screaming. So everything's happening at once, and this bear's moving, and my dad, bless the man's instincts, he swerves, but he doesn't lose control of the car, because that's also the way people will fucking kill themselves because a plastic bag makes them jump You know, I had a rabbit coming at me, and it was either I swerve into other cars or I kill the rabbit. Well, guess who survived that day? Okay, me and those other cars, and the rabbit did. Yeah. Oh, anyway, my dad swerves just in time, and the bear does not slow down. I'm not sure where the bear had to go in such a hurry. Maybe it was panicked because of the screaming children that it could hear or something. Who knows? Maybe it was out practicing for the Olympics. And the bear smashes its head into the side of our car. Donk! It just, boom, whacks its head on the car. We got hit by a bear. So we pull over. We throw it into the back seat. We're going to turn it into skin so it can become either a rug or several shoes. And then my dad stuck his hand in its mouth for a funny picture, and we drove it to Central Park, and we dumped the body. That's what we did. That was fun night. We didn't get to the fishing cabin until much later because of all that distraction. No, actually, we pulled over. My dad, there was no other cars around, and we stopped, obviously, and he goes, oh, he had to like gather himself a bit, and we're like, what the? And we're like, Dad, the bear hit us, because my dad didn't see the bear hit the car because he was driving it, and it like was on the right side, and we're like, it hit the car, yeah, that was the bear, oh my God, we're all kind of, energized by this event. So my dad, flips the car around, and we go looking for the bear. It would have been funny if it was like ready to battle. If it was like, I'm going to kill you, bear. And then we all died. That would have been funny. But no, we didn't see the bear. So we hope it only had like a bonk on the head. Like, oh, geez. And then it was fine. They are pretty tough animals. Yeah. But, hitting it with a car straight on is bad. So this is how I'm covering this news. So anyway, the point being, actually, my dad has taken deer from roadkill before. He hit a deer once when we were kids, apparently. He called the police. The cop came. I think my dad actually did kill a deer with a board. He had a 2x4. That sounds like I'll save that one for his funeral. That's a good story for that time. I'm at that point in my life where I'm already starting to think about my parents' funeral, so I'm working on jokes for it. I hope it doesn't happen for a while, because I will be fucked up by my parents' death. It is going to wreck me, man. I am not prepared emotionally. I don't have a good support structure. I already have a hard time getting through the day just if I have too much coffee or not enough. So yeah, it's fucked up. Oh, it's so good. So yes, honestly though, like I'm not knocking the take the bear and get the meat and get the skin. That's fine. I think there's something to it that is sort of interesting. But let's see if he just did the right thing. Like I guess you'd probably contact a butcher. In rural areas where there's hunting, there's usually butchers that are available, or some people oftentimes have like freezers and refrigerators in their garages or something. Or perhaps there's a way to do this, an opportunity for some bear meat. I've been on bear hunts where they use dogs to chase the bears around, with friends that we know up in northern Wisconsin. So I've seen some of this stuff. So his story doesn't, other than he's telling Rosanne Barr about picking up a bear off the road, I wouldn't be too alarmed by this story, right? It's probably not that relatable to a lot of people, but picking up a freshly killed animal off the road that's mostly intact to use it for resources. Hey, that's the world we live in,
For a roadkill bear. And so then
I had to get a roadkill bear.
went hawking, and I had the bear in my car. And then
we
had a really good day.
So then they went hawking. I like how falconing has another term called hawking. That's funny. Okay. So they grabbed the bear. I suppose you don't put it on ice immediately. You'd probably want to do that. I know a corpse can last a little while before it goes bad. But he went falconrying with the bear collected up. Now we're starting to feel like if you gather up a dead bear, your move usually needs to be like, we got to do it now. We got to kind of deal with this now. Maybe we'll stop off and get a burger. We'll pick up some fast food. We could afford a 15-minute break. But generally, that's like now you've changed your quest. Now you've clicked on the little map indicator to relocate your quest icon, so you know that you should be no longer focusing on having fun with attack birds, which is such a rich asshole hobby. And now you should be seeking out a place to either find storage for the bear in terms of ice, or immediately getting it to a butcher shop or something, because they also have freezers at butcher shops. You know, that's what they do.
Went late. We were catching a lot of game, and the people really loved it.
Oh, the falcons are hunting. We had a great time with the falcons hunting and just catching lots of sparrows. And
we stayed late, and instead of going back to my home in Westchester, I had to go right to the city because there was a dinner.
Oh, yeah, of course.
At Peter Luger's Steakhouse.
Peter Luger. That's the kind of is just all marketing for Peter Luger Steakhouse? Peter Luger's somewhere going, God damn it. I got to get some bear meat. We're putting this on the menu. It's probably some rich, fucking restaurant thing. By the way, in the world I want to build, you'd have all kinds of awesome restaurants, right? Those are small businesses. Those are that's the sort of capitalism, the sort of like enterprise that would flourish in a world where people could open cool little restaurants. There'd be so much regional variety. It wouldn't be just a bunch of Subway sandwich places and steakhouses for guys that have dead bears in the back of their minivan.
Luger's Steakhouse, and at the end of the dinner,
bring it into the steakhouse and say, dude, fresh meat. I got a bear in the trunk. So he picks up a bear. He goes falconrying with his pals. Is he charging for that? Is he like a guide? Or I think he's probably not. He's just showing off. It'd be below him to making money. And then he has to go to dinner. He doesn't want to miss that dinner.
It went late, and I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport, and the bear was in my car, and I didn't.
This is such a funny story. He's got a bear in the trunk, and he's got to go to the airport. You didn't think this through, you fucking moron? Now, leave the bear on the side of the road. That would have been your other choice. Oh, yeah, gosh, got a lot to do today. We got to go to Costco. We got to go get the kids. We got to go get the fitted for the soccer ball fittings. We got all kinds of shit to do. We got to head down to the archery hut. And why am I going with those? None of those made sense. I got to get to the airport. Got to go have dinner in New York City. Maybe I shouldn't pick up a bear. I don't know. I've seen stuff on the road that I've thought about picking up, but realize it's probably more of a hassle.
I want to leave the bear in the car
at the airport.
Because that would have been bad. So then I thought,
I read the manual in the car, and the car says, don't leave a bear for more than 12 hours.
At that time, this was a little bit of the redneck in me.
Oh, a little bit.
There'd been a series of bicycle accidents in New York. They had just put in the bike lanes, and saw a couple of people that got killed, and it was every day, and people had gotten badly injured. Every day it was in the press.
So he's looking for people to pick up and put in the back of his car for later?
And so I thought, I wasn't drinking, of course, but people were drinking with me who thought this was a good idea. Oh,
right. This is just good. This is just good designated. This is good DD behavior. Good designated driver is a guy who, with his drunk friends, wants to party it up and let the bear loose. A corpse bear, not a living bear. Would have had reanimated. What if it was a zombie bear and it wakes up in the back of the car and kills him and his 5 drunken rich fools, their bellies full of meat steaks.
And I said, well, I had an old bike in my car that somebody asked me to get rid of it. I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike.
Yeah! Rosanne Barr. Shit's fucked up when Rosanne Barr seems like the reasonable one, even though we haven't heard her say anything, but... So his plan is to stage, because it's been in the news that humans had been getting injured in bicycle collisions, probably a combination of the bicyclists and the humans maybe they're running into, or cars hitting bicyclists, a horrifyingly dangerous activity around cars, among the reasons cars are bad for society. But his reasoning is to prank, is to become a Gotham villain for a night and just, but a weird prank, a little Fight Club kind of chaos agent by staging a bicycle accident. He just happened to have a bicycle that he needed to get rid of as well. So this guy's got falcons, a bicycle, and a bear. I assume he has the falcons in a different facility. It'd be funny if they were like on the roof, like Mitt Romney had his dog on the roof for a family trip. I guess he had to hose off the shit off the back of the window. They stopped so that he could like get a hose and wash the dog, the terror poop off his car. That's a Mitt Romney story. All right, let's keep going here.
So everybody thought that's a great idea. So we went and did that, and we thought,
hey, drunken scions of privilege, let's make this bear look like it got hit by a bike. We'll just throw away the bicycle and the bear, and then I'll go to the airport. Yeah, let's do it, man. Cool. Oh, great. Oh, good. My stock price went up. I'm investing in nursing homes.
be amusing for whoever found it or something.
It would, yeah, it would.
That
That would make my day if I came across a bear corpse in an old bike. I'd be like, sweet, I'm making some shoes. I got a new bike.
day, it was like, it was on every television station. It was the front page of every paper. And I turned on the TV and there was like a mile of yellow tape and there were 20 cop cars. There were helicopters flying over it. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And,
I mean, if it wasn't this political dude with his anti-vax bullshit and his kind of chaotic campaign, and he's clearly a child of immense privilege, and he's a bullshitter in all kinds of ways. So it's been interesting getting Sam Cedar's like impressions of him over this kind of last couple of years, because Sam Cedar used to like work with him at Air America, so like he knew him when RFK was on his when they were doing shows and stuff. So he had to and I trust Sam Cedar's takes on stuff. And he's also a New York guy. I think he probably relates to the country, not just the city part of New York, but I know he has upstate house or something. So he gets to see the countryside of New York, because there's a distinct difference between those two types of locales. But if it weren't RFK Jr. telling Roseanne, and if it was just some guy who's like, yeah, dude, we found a bear and we had this old bike, so we like dumped it in the park and made it look like a bike accident. And like, that was funny because we were drunk. And then like I wake up the next day and there's like helicopters and cops everywhere, and like it turned into this thing I didn't expect. Like, that's a funny story. That's a great plot for like a Zach Galifianakis movie. Where the fuck has that guy been lately, huh? Still sleeping in a Las Vegas hotel room with all those dead tigers or something? Like, this isn't that. This is a zany hijinks type of story. But and it's grisly and kind of weird and gross and
and then there was some people on TV in tie-back suits with gloves on lifting up the bike, and they're saying they're going to take this up to Albany to get a fingerprinted.
Uh-oh.
oh dear, oh my.
I was worried because my prints were all over that bike. Luckily,
The bear reanimated and got on the bike and pedaled off. The bear now owns several circuses, of which I am an investor. I've made many millions of dollars on the bear circus from the reanimated corpse bear. P.T. Barfum and Bailey. And Barely, I should have said. That would have been better. Improv.
story died down after a while, and it stayed dead for a decade. And
Unlike that bear.
the New Yorker somehow found out about it, and they're going to do a
Look
big
at
article.
the
on
giant hunk of meat right in the shot. Like, they got catered ribs. Rich people get such good food, man. It's so fucking amazing. We could have a world where everybody gets awesome food. Food doesn't have to be good food shouldn't be an exclusively rich people thing. We're humans.
And that's one of the articles. So they asked me, the fact checker said, it's going to be a bad story. Right?
I think it's a great story.
Well, too bad it wasn't my husband, Tom Arnold. Rosie's a monster. Wow, interesting. I hadn't seen this video yet, and so he's trying to get ahead of the New Yorker story here. This is a fascinating kind of political, like a case study, let's say, in crisis management for like communications. Like there's like PR firms that specialize in what do we do about this? How are we going to deal with this guy? let's see. So BBC, I didn't get the New Yorker link, but RFK Jr. admits dumping bear carcass in New York Central Park 5 hours ago. Phil McCausland. All right, I'll just read a little bit. Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has posted a video on social media in which he admits that he dumped a dead bear. He said to the bear, "I'm sorry, it's just not working out. I think I want to see other people." See? Turned it into a little bit of a funny. The clip posted onto his X account, it's called Twitter, morons, on Sunday, shows him with controversial U.S. comedian Rosanne Barr as he describes bizarre circumstances that led to an incident that mystified New Yorkers 10 years ago. Mr. Kennedy said a woman had hit and killed a bear with her car when he was driving behind her outside of the city. He dispatched his army of falcons to pick it up and carry it off, like pigeons carrying away an elephant. I was thinking of that whale. Isn't that like an old Twitter video, or an old Twitter like graphic of birds carrying the a whale? What am I talking about? It appears he shared the anecdote to get ahead of a story in the New Yorker magazine published on Monday. Okay, so here's a little bit from the New Yorker story. According to the New Yorker story, which published on Monday morning, Mr. Kennedy was tickled by the controversy, by the discovery of the bear while heading to a falconry outing in the in the rural Hudson River Valley north of New York City. An image included in the article shows Mr. Kennedy grimacing with his hand inside the dead bear's bloody mouth. He had loaded the bear into the back of his car. Wait a minute. We're going to get back to that photo here. Citing an anonymous person with knowledge of Mr. Kennedy's disposal of the bear's corpse in Central Park, the magazine reported that Mr. Kennedy thought it would be funny to make it look like an errant cyclist had run into the animal. The account is broadly similar to the one provided by Mr. Kennedy on Sunday. All right, so we got, just jump ahead a little bit. We got some quotes here. New York State does allow people to take bears killed on roads, but the law stipulates that a person has to notify law enforcement or the state's Department of Environmental Conservation to acquire such a tag. Mr. Kennedy does not appear to have done that. Instead, he says he continued to his falconing event, which went late into the evening, then went on to dinner at Peter Luger Steakhouse in New York City. I wonder if this is good or bad for Peter. It's probably fine. I imagine they're all having fun talking about it at the Peter Luger dining tables over the next few days. About 75 miles, 121 kilometers, south of Goshen. All right. Okay, so here's a bit more. The bear's corpse was discovered by a woman walking her dog, according to a 2014 story written by the New York Times. It had been placed under some bushes and an abandoned bicycle, the story says. The article said that the police's animal cruelty squad was looking into the death, and that the New York Department of Environmental Conservation had concluded that the animal had been killed in a, quote, motor vehicle collision, not a bike accident. So that probably brings us over here to the photo. What do I got here? This is how MSNBC covered it. We'll get to the photo in a second. Well, let me show it to you since I've teased it for you. There you go. Robert Scavarla tweeted, he took a picture of himself before he dumped the carcass in Central Park. So this guy. So we're going to get back to this in a second, but let's watch MSNBC. I think I'm going to skip. I think it starts with the video we just watched. We're going to jump ahead to their reaction. We'll get a taste for how mainstream news pundits are taking it. And remember, this is all charged up. This is all extra wizardry going around because of the presidential election, of which RFK Jr. is playing a small but not insubstantial role.
Early, like 7 in the
All right, I'm
and
gonna
then
skip ahead 10 seconds. 10,
you can
10.
do a park, and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike.
No, that's not funny, and also that's gross, and it's totally weird to take a baby bear and stick it in the back of your car and then forget about it and go to steak at Peter Luger's and then decide to reenact a bike accident where the bear got killed.
See, I think the reenactment of the bike accident should have been the bear was on the bike. I would have put the bike between the bear's legs and positioned it to be like holding onto it. Right? That's what I would have done. Because I was a lot of fun when I was shit-faced. Until I wasn't. And I just went home and got really sad.
That's not
Donnie,
okay.
Donnie, I'm not good at branding. Tell me, how does this play in Peoria?
That's Joe Scarborough. The first person you heard was Mika Brzezinski, or as Joe Scarborough calls her, his work wife and his home wife. They're married. He put it out a tweet saying it's anti-Semitic to criticize Josh Shapiro, or more or less is what he was saying, which is just such bullshit. I hate that. What a scoundrel, Joe Scarborough. That guy gets paid money for his opinions. What a joke. So anyway, all these talking heads on MSNBC, we got an array of faces. There's a total of 7 people on screen, 2 shots and 3 one-shots. Only one person seems to have a sense of humor, the woman up in the upper left who's smiling and kind of laughing, although I imagine they're all just sort of taking this in because it's just inherently funny. This is really funny.
Remind me of the time, Joe. Remember you and I were meeting the Rev and Ratner at Polo, and
it's not funny the way like when Ted Kennedy had his car accident where he probably the woman got didn't walk away from it, but they pretended it wasn't something that goes way back. So we're not talking about human death. We're talking about a bear's death, which if you take offense at that, that's also fair. I think that's valid too. But the whole thing is funny. Yeah.
Baby bison in my car.
Let me back up. Sorry. 10 minutes or 10 seconds back.
Joe, remind me of the time, Joe. Remember you and I were meeting the Rev and Ratner at Polo, and I had that baby bison in my car, and you and I were just like, what do we do? Do we go to Polo? Do we eat the bison? And I don't remember how it ended, but it was just one of those nights. From a branding point of view,
a family of hunters.
Yeah. I think you drove it to the East River, but go ahead.
Okay. We're a country of 330 million people. And to think the fact that our third presidential candidate, although he's down to, you guys talked to me earlier, 2-3%, this man is actually running for president. He is running for president, and you can't make this stuff up.
I think it should be a requirement. All presidential candidates should be hilarious hijinksters. Prank the police by staging the corpses of large charismatic megafauna in the middle of busy cities. I want to see that John McCain had done that. I want to know that John McCain had put a dead giraffe in a small town in a park in central downtown Phoenix. Wouldn't that be great? He probably has giraffes on one of his many properties that he forgot how many he owned. No bigger rich guy move than when they ask you how many houses you own. You go, ask my staff. That's the most rich guy thing you could do. Pete Buttigieg running for president. Let's see it, buddy. Let's get a dead rhinoceros in the middle of that town in Indiana. Okay? This bit has already gone stale than what I'm trying to do.
Wait, Alex, I would just run that loop the rest of the show. I know Morning Joe has huge numbers, but I don't think you can do anything that's going to top that video.
It looks like an episode of Curb. I mean, it just looks so completely outlandish. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
You know why
What?
Larry now said to Cheryl at the end, "Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're
the
okay?"
The last episode
That's
of Curb
absolutely-
Your
You sure?
Enthusiasm. Note the moment where Larry says to Cheryl, "You okay?"
She goes, "Yeah."
Good broadcasting, quoting a show that nobody can afford to watch. Let's just skip ahead for the heck of it. Here, let's see. What is this? John Heilman. He's going to say something here.
Weirdos, insurrectionists, and freaks.
Insurrectionists and freaks, right?
I've always wanted to know how you distinguish between the weirdos and the freaks, but we'll put that aside for now. I think he's a conspiracy theory loving oddball. Again, that's a kind way of putting it. I mean, I think he's propounded a lot of genuinely dangerous ideas out there in the public space. He's someone who, in the world of politics, someone who was, for a long time, was a champion, was regarded as a kind of mainstream member of the environmental movement.
This guy has no upper lip. Look at him. No upper lip. Wild. I have a beautiful upper lip. I have a really nice one.
Who, on the basis of his behavior,
right,
some of the positions he's taken, was kind of read out of the environmental movement. People won't have anything to do with him. We talked earlier today about the oddness of the worm in his brain that he's claimed. And then there are also, he's not only has he acknowledged now that he's sexually harassed a babysitter of his, he has basically said, there may be more stories like this. I've been around a long time. There may be more stories like that still coming down the pike. I think that's a paraphrase, but he's been on the record.
He said it was accused credibly of very inappropriate stuff. And his answer was, I'm not a church boy. Like admitting that basically. Like, what do you expect me to have not assaulted women that are working under me? Come on. I didn't go to church. Let's quit the bullshit, by the way, that if you were from church, there's no greater source of abuse that flows than from the power dynamics that are inherent in a lot of these churches, by the way. That's, okay, let's not bring it down too much here.
Record saying, kind of trying to basically say there's other stuff out there about himself. So I think, quirky is one way of putting it. Also, I think diminishingly relevant to politics. You did point out earlier, you still see it, even though he's down to about 2% nationally, with him in the race or him in the polling.
Come on, I'm gonna jump ahead here.
Which is actually good news for Donald Trump because, again, BK,
I wanted to hear Joe.
As a political stock, with every passing moment, and the bear thing does not do anything to reverse that.
Well, which is actually good news for Donald Trump because, again, BK, at least in recent polling with Trump and Harris, if it may be tied, and then you put RFK Jr. into the mix, and Kamala picks up 1 or 2 points.
I think the bear is going to pick up a couple points easily. So speaking of that, let's look at these pictures. Here's a chunk from the New Yorker article, I believe. It's got that classic, I feel like a snob just looking at the font, New Yorker font. After the outing, Kennedy, who was then 60 and recently married to Hines, got an idea. He drove to Manhattan and as darkness fell, entered Central Park with a bear and a bicycle. A person with knowledge of the event said that Kennedy thought it would be funny to make it look as if the animal had been killed by an errant cyclist. The next day, the bear was discovered by 2 women walking their dogs, setting off an investigation by the NYPD. This is a highly unusual situation, a spokeswoman for the Central Park Conservancy told The Times. It's awful. In a follow-up piece for The Times, which was coincidentally written by Tatiana Schlossberg, one of JFK's granddaughters, a retired Bronx homicide commander commented, "People are crazy." I tried to do a New York voice. Didn't do a good job. When asked, the bear's family released a comment, "Rawr, rawr, feed me marshmallows." Bears love sugar. So here's the photo. It's a bit grisly. I don't know how you would assume. I'm sorry about the wounding that's going. Oh, you can't really. I don't want to show you the full wounding. Sorry about that. So yeah, he's 60 years old, falconry expert, likes to work out. Decided it'd be fun to stick his hand in the bear's mouth. I wonder what a baby bear, it probably weighed about 50, 60, 70 pounds. Like a grown, not a tiny cub, but not a grown bear by any stretch. So yeah, there's the picture. I decided though that if you're gonna, there are other kinds of bears in the world, right? This is not the only one. It's the one we all live in terror of ever encountering when we're on our hikes or at the grocery store. And so RFK Jr. has to make fun of this one, had to have a little laugh. So let's have a little laugh too, okay? What if a different kind of bear went at him? What if it was one of these bears? Ah, shit, fucking... Oh, damn it. Right there. 1985 Chicago Bear world champion football team head coach Mike Ditka, the one football guy who looks like the logo of the team of which he is coaching. A little fun. That's the bear. What if that happened? See, but I didn't settle for this. This was just Photoshop. But he's looking off in the wrong direction. Let's fix that. Michael Dukakis, someone said. Mike Ditka, flip his head. Boom. Now he's looking at the right direction. Looking more realistic, isn't it? This is some Photoshop magic here. You ready? Here's the next stage. His mouth's open. You can't put your hand in a closed mouth. You got to put it in an open mouth, right? But now this creates a new problem we have in our Photoshop fun. We got to move this guy over there so that it makes even more sense. I want you to think that he actually found Mike Ditka. Smaller head, put his mouth on it. Now he's got his hand inside his mouth. Mike Ditka has bare teeth, but that's not even close. That's not quite right. Right? We go from here to here, boom, his mouth, but let's take it, the fingers go on the front, and to fulfill, now it's starting to actually look pretty good, to fulfill the illusion, okay, we adjust the colors on Mike Ditka's face, because one of the Photoshop amateurs do is they don't kind of match skin tone. Not that everybody has the same skin, but the shadow, the kind of black levels, there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into making something seem seamless into the world. It's usually about how the light is there. And then so we change his skin slightly to make him look better. And I could have kept going because honestly, this is terrible. What we would need to do is add shadows all over the place and stuff. But nevertheless, to go from here to here is pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I actually kind of prefer that one, to be honest. Yeah. So there you go. Put that out on Twitter. Put that out. Yep. Let's do it. There you go. For some reason, I thought I'd have a lot more fun with this than I really have. I feel it's kind of sad all of a sudden.